Alongside netminder Juuse Saros of the Preds, pretty wonderful location, pretty easy to say yes to the AllStar this season. I'm guessing that's true for pretty much all the guys.
Yeah, I think everybody loves being here, so yeah, and not a bad place to have a podcast, so it's not nice right on the beach.
Nice. Now, you play in one of the real nice cities in the NHL. Could you play, though, on a beach like this? Because I'm looking at this, and I don't think I would be as effective as I could be.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to go day off, you go to the beach and take a little swim, but at the same time, I kind of like snow every now and then, too, so yeah, I don't know.
One of the things that we've been talking about when we talk about you on our podcast is I don't think the NHL world appreciates how influential you are in hockey. There are a lot of players, whether it's Connor McDavid and Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, talk about how much they influence kids and all that. But for goaltenders that aren't giants, for goalies when they're first starting out who aren't big and always hear you have to be 6'4" to play net, now they can point at you and say, you know what, that guy's an all-star goaltender and he's not 6'3" or 6'4". Do you get a sense of how important and influential you are in the game? Because I really think it's big.
I mean, yeah, every now and then you hear some messages and stuff like that, and I think it's cool if I get to inspire some of the kids and that you can make it in different ways too. So, yeah, like every now and then I see it.
Did anyone ever try to talk you out of this? Say, this isn't for you?
Not like that. Obviously, I was never a big guy even as a young kid, and you would hear some talks every now and then always, but it never really bothered me, and it was just I just wanted to play, and obviously, especially my draft year, it was a big topic and stuff, but yeah, I never really thought about it too much.
How many times in your pre-draft interviews did you get asked about your height?
I mean, probably
every single one of them?
Not everyone, but most of them. They would sometimes walk in the room and they said take off your shoes, they measured me and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean I get it. There was also a team. I'm not gonna say the team, but they called me and they wanted me to get X-rays of my bones to see if I can still grow. And the results was there's no growing coming, and they didn't draft me, but that was probably the most extreme.
If I look up let's try it this way, you say. If I look up your record against teams on the internet, will there be one team that you have a great record against that I'll be saying that's the team that told them they weren't taking them?
And nah, I'm not sure. Probably pretty average. Yeah.
Okay, let me go this way. Which team do you really like beating?
Yeah, I'll leave it there.
Well, because the one thing I wonder is there's been occasions where a player will hear the same question 46 times and finally they'll snap and say something sarcastic. Did you ever do that?
No, I don't think I really. I mean, I get it. It obviously helps if you're a big guy. You get more angles to block the shot. So I always get the question too. So and I mean it's always funny for me to kind of show that I can play with this height too.
Now, when did you know that Nashville liked you? Did you know they were going to take you?
No, not really. So I was kind of surprised, had no idea. And I remember my draft year was after the lockout, so all the rounds were kept the same day. Mm-hmm. And I was in Finland, I was watching the stream, and it was 5 a.m. or something like that when finally the name popped up. But yeah, I had no clue that they would pick me. So yeah, only thing, obviously, watching Pekkarinen a lot warm up, so that was kind of one of the only things I knew about the city at that moment. But afterwards, I was really lucky and happy that they picked me. When
you saw your name there, did you wake up your entire family? Did you scream in excitement or anything like that?
We were all still watching it, so but yeah, we were all pretty tired, so it was just we were happy.
You're picked, now we gotta go to bed.
Yeah, kind of that kind of situation.
The Nashville Predators have this incredible string and this incredible run, this incredible legacy of creating elite defensemen and elite goaltenders. Like, it is exemplary. And you just mentioned Pekka Rinne a second ago. Do you have any idea why that is for goaltenders specifically? And now Askarov is on the horizon too, and like it always seems like right from the very get-go, this team has always been blessed with great goaltending. You're part of it, obviously. Have any idea why?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like you said, I feel like it's always kind of been the stable, but probably like the scouting, and they have been doing really good job. And I don't know if they have a lot of former goalies and defensemen to see the talent, but yeah, I haven't really thought it that way. But yeah, it's a good point. It's been like that, and like you say, like picking up like guys like Marias, like Ekholm in the 4th round, and
for sure
Juuse in like late second and stuff like that. So,
Shea Weber, 2nd round pick.
Yeah. So you gotta really have an eye on that, and I know like they really value like obviously you gotta be a good hockey player, but as a person too. So maybe that is like a one part of it too.
What did you learn from Pekka Rinne? I can only imagine, riding shotgun with Pekka Rinne for the time that you did. You pick up a few things. What did you learn from him?
Yeah, it was obviously huge. Like since day one, he helped me on and off the ice so much. And like, come into the first training camp, and he's like every practice, he's like diving in front of the pucks and just leading by example so well. And then off the ice and locker room, like treating everybody always the same. Doesn't matter who you are. And I mean, those things are pretty cool to see, and it's easy to learn from those two things. So it's those are probably the biggest two.
Are you a competitive practice guy?
Yeah, I like to always practice as hard as I can, and obviously when you have like a guy like Pex, it was good, nice to take example. And our goalie coach Ben Vanderklok, he's awesome and always demands a lot, and it always we always try to make the most out of the day.
So who is the toughest Predator to stop, and who is the Predator you most love to drive crazy by making saves?
Yeah, that's a good one. I know like Philip Forsberg, his release is really unpredictable, so he can never really know where the puck is going, and obviously his shot is really hard too. And I don't know who is there a player that I try there?
Is there a player who really gets frustrated when he can't score?
Well, Shane probably, but he still scores too. But yeah, if he doesn't, he always like.
He's a bit of a crybaby, eh? Is that what you're saying? He's a bit of a crybaby when he doesn't score? Matt Duchene, quote, crybaby when he doesn't score.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, he also scores, so it's not like he's crying all the time.
We've seen over the past couple of seasons specifically the rise of the elite level shooter in the NHL right now. For the longest time, guys, forwards would just go in the off season and just lift. Goalies worked on their game, and goalies had the advantage because of it. But now everyone's got their own shooting coaches and ways to, learn, where to let go of the puck. All the pre-shot movement studies that they all do, etc. How do you accommodate for that, knowing now that the players shoot harder and more accurately than ever? And right now, there's a lot of thought that goes into what happens before the shot to try to make it as perfect as possible.
Yeah, like you said, it's changed a lot, and I feel like nowadays, like guys are on the ice even like the whole summer too, and working on their skills. And all the young guys, they have like skills coaches like as a young age, so they shoot so well right when they get in the league. So yeah, I mean, as a goalie, I feel like I kind of want to be more on the ice too. During the summers to not take too much time off and find different ways to get better, because don't want to get like left behind with all that talent. So yeah, just try to
Kids now at all ages have, like you mentioned, shooting instructors, skating instructors. What was it like for you growing up? Did you have any of that? How often were you on the ice? What was life like for you as a young goalie?
No, it's still kind of like that old school that you play like different sports in the summers, and then hockey in the winter, and like soccer in the summer, and then stuff like that. And yeah, it was a couple hockey camps in the summer, but other than that, nothing too crazy. We always had like goalie ice sessions like during the season in my hometown. So that was huge. So we always had like a goalie coach even when I started as a goalie really young. So, but yeah, nothing like it is now.
Who was your favorite goalie growing up?
I really like Fleury because he was like acrobatic. He had the yellow pads.
Yep.
I kind of copied that, and then Rask and Pex came in the league just a little bit later than him. So those three were like I watched a lot of YouTube videos of those three.
Did you ever say to Fleury that I idolized you as a kid just to see what his reaction would be? It's just to make him feel really old.
I never got a chance to meet him yet. I had to ask one of his sticks last year, and I got my first win against him, so that was pretty special too. But yeah, maybe I get to say something to him one of these days. But yeah, I only heard good things about him. Yeah.
No, so you've got one of his sticks?
Yeah.
Who else do you have? Like, who other sticks do you have?
I got like mostly Pex. I got right away, but yeah, I don't have like too many. I've been a little bit lazy asking. I should be asking.
You've got a lot of time.
Yeah.
You got a lot of time.
Yeah, but yeah, those two, and then a few like player sticks. But
I was gonna say,
any players?
Only goalie sticks or other players?
Which players you got?
I got Juuse's stick, and then a couple. I got Salomäkis and Tolvanen's my Finnish teammates, but yeah, that's about it. So it's pretty still like a not too big of a collection.
You've got time to build
like
this up.
Komarov, who was in Toronto, he would like he probably have millions because every World Championship he would ask one from each guy, and he would go home with like 30 sticks, and even like when we're on the ice, like summer skating, he's asking guys sticks. Like he has to have like a full apartment of like sticks.
Let's check his eBay account right away.
I gotta tell you, guys told me, like, there was one time I was interviewing him and talking to him in the Toronto dressing room, and he said something along the lines of, you guys might think you know what's going on in here, but you guys have no clue. And another player laughed, and we were talking about it, and he goes, that guy, you guys have no idea. Leo Komarov is the funniest guy in the NHL. Yeah. Tell me some stuff about him.
Yeah, I mean, he could have his like own podcast with like thousands of episodes without any guests. Like he could go on for like hours and hours, like just talking, and like you wouldn't even need one, and it would be just funny. It's just like, I don't know. He's a different breed, but yeah, just a funny guy.
Guys said like he's like the funniest guy in the league. Yeah. I wanted to ask you about last year, and I was asking one of your teammates about you, and he said like the toughest thing he thought about for you is last year you have an unbelievable season, and then you got hurt right before the playoffs, and he said like he'd never seen you so disappointed because and he said it wasn't only you, it was like just that the fact that the Predators weren't going to be able to go in with you to help them, and it really hurt you and bothered you a lot.
Yeah, it was tough for sure, especially because we grinded the whole season. We're right on the playoff line there, and we finally make the playoffs, and I got kind of hurt there, and especially the series we had against Carolina year before, and remember how fun it was, and how awesome the atmosphere was in Bridgestone. So you were really looking forward to the playoff game. So it was like a tough timing in that case, but yeah.
Did you try to play? Like, did you did someone have to say to you, "This is not happening"?
I mean, I kind of knew because first time I could go on my knees was like 8 weeks after it, so it was like there's no chance. It was weird injury, especially as a goalie having a high ankle sprain. Like I was actually skating week later as a player, but I couldn't twist my ankle for like 8 weeks. So it was weird. Like you could do everything in the gym after like 3-4 weeks, but then playing goalie, it took like 3 months at least to being back to kind of normal, because you're always kind of twisting and turning and like stuff like that. So I kind of knew that there is not really a chance.
Did it affect you at all at the beginning of this year? Because at the beginning of this year, you were a little slower getting back to yourself. So I was wondering if that affected you at all.
I mean, I couldn't really work on my post play on that side of the ankle. So, but don't really blame that on it too much either. Like, because I was a few weeks before the season, I was kind of being back to normal. So in the summer it affected a little bit, but I don't want to blame it all on them.
You take the excuse. Take the excuse. The other thing I wanted to ask you was last year, like I do a radio hit in Nashville every week, and they were furious last year. They thought you got shafted in the Vezina voting. Does this bother you at all?
I don't think. Obviously, Shesterkin, I think he's a clear winner, and Markstrom had a good year too, and a couple other guys like Anderson, Sorokin. So I was actually a little bit surprised I was part of the top 3, and it was a great honor, and it was a good year for me too. But yeah, I think I was kind of where I belong. So no bad blood from me.
That Nashville media, they look out for you. That's what it is. They look out for you.
You had an outstanding season. Brian Burke always makes the point that it shouldn't be the general managers that vote on the Vezina, because it's the general managers that least understand goaltending. That's the one position where they always mess up. Who should vote for the Vezina?
I think maybe we could do like goalies too, like something similar how the NBA has the AllStar voting, like maybe like 50% is like could be GMs, and then like 50% would be goalies or stuff like that.
Would you want to vote on something like that? Would you want to do that?
Yeah, I think goalies would be happy to vote on that, and I think it would be cool to see the results too, and I think it would be pretty point on.
So who's the best goalie in the league this year? Number 2 after Saros. Number two.
You can't really beat all Mark's stats. He's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
What's the most important stat for you? Marty Brodeur used to always talk about wins. What's the most important stat for you?
Yeah, it's a little different. I think in North America, like the wins is like in Finland, like growing up and playing the game, I feel like there you look more like the save percentage compared to the wins. But of course, playing here, you get to appreciate the wins more too. And then I don't look into the advanced stats too much, but I think what's the one that is like goals saved?
Goals above expected?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a good stat nowadays too. Like I think that is kind of like a good thing too.
You know why that's a good stat? Because you're always very high in that one. You were very high in that one last year, and you're very high in this one.
Players love the stats that they're really good at. They find that those are the most important stats.
Honestly, I check that almost every day because I just want to know like who's who's the goals, assist points, the goals against average is not or save percentage. It's not a true indicator.
Yeah.
And your numbers there are always good, very good.
Yeah. Obviously, like when it's a long season, then it's like save percentage kind of shows where you are too. But if it's like a 5 games, like a shorter thing, then it's kind of harder to say. Yeah.
Well, if you look at it this year, we're on pace for the lowest save percentage by goalies in about 15 years. Do you like the way the game is going? Like, offense sells, but that's bad for you. Do you like that?
Yeah, obviously it makes it really more challenging for the goalies and harder for our lives. But I get it. It's like entertaining, and at the same time, it's also like fun to play. And I like to look at it. It's like a positive challenge that as a goalie, then you also get to be the difference maker more and show your skill set more. But yeah, obviously you gotta be on top of your game every game with how the league is right now.
Aside from playing net, what's the thing that you're the most competitive in?
I mean,
or are you one of those guys who's everything?
Yeah, I mean, all the sports. It's hard for me to. I always try to play it cool, but then sometimes it's hard when you're losing or something.
So what do you compete in? Like, what do the Predators players compete in? That's not hockey.
Well, a lot of guys play golf. I'm not a big golfer, so I know there's a lot of chirping on that, and then the NFL, the fantasy thing they have. But yeah, but
do you do fantasy football?
No, I didn't do that too. So it's mostly even like for me in the practice, like when guys are scoring and they're like doing like a big celly, and in my head I'm always like it's driving me crazy, but I always like just. Be cool, like.
Don't let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
A couple more for me. How important, like on your list of things to achieve in the NHL, where do you put scoring a goal?
Good question.
Yeah, that would be cool. And obviously, it was awesome to see when Pex scored a goal, and then this year there's been a couple guys.
Shesterkin.
Yeah, Shesterkin, and I think Swayman was really close earlier, and so I think it would be cool. And one good thing about if there's something positive about the injury happening, I stayed in Nashville pretty long for the season, and only thing we could do on the ice was my puck handling skills and shooting the puck.
You practiced empty net goals?
Yes, a little bit, and I got a little bit better at playing the puck now too and shooting. So maybe one day that would be cool.
Would John Hines have a heart attack if you lined up to shoot? And is it worth it? Is it worth it?
We played in Ottawa this year, and I think we were leading 3-0 or 2-0 at the end of 2, and then they rimmed the puck. But then it was and I thought about it for a second, but it was offside, and they blew it down, and Ekman was actually yelling at me to leave the puck too. So, but yeah, that was kind of the only.
Be quiet, Ekholm. I can score here.
Yeah.
Last one. I'm a big ink guy. Obviously, you are as well. What do you have?
I got a few tattoos of like my dogs, dogs, and then a couple smaller ones on my leg, like with my best friends and stuff like that. But yeah, I always liked tattoos, and I got my first few ones last few years. But yeah, I was looking at yours too. I'm
addicted. That. I'm addicted.
Yeah,
this can be more. I gotta finish this. Maybe this summer.
Really
we'll
cool.
see.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you take one and then you're like, oh, I gotta. Yeah.
There's no chance. Any hockey ink, or do you keep that separate?
I think I'm gonna keep that separate for now. But yeah, I know like my parents don't really like me. They always I get a new one. They're like, that's the last one, right? And. But yeah,
it's the last one for now.
Do you know that I'm in the NHL and you can't tell me what to do anymore, Mom and Dad? Like that's what you should say.
Yeah.
This has been great. Thanks so much for this. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And enjoy the rest of the season. Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you.